not in guiding nowadays, but the situation is not the best situation for all of you as guides because it went down to a zero. But I heard Khalil that he might have a group or two in the coming few months. So God bless you, and I hope that you would enjoy, learn a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. I know it's not the sites that you want to hear about, but we are not going to talk just English. That's why I chose a place, or a place was chosen to me by Raed. He asked me to guide about Stella Maris and Muhraka. And that's why you see the line up there, Christian Holy Sites, Stella Maris, and Muhraka by me. Of course, like any other one, I've gathered the material from what I know and from the internet. هذا كيف بقلبونا
بس ايوه بيج داون او ترى هون
هون بالفعل
هون هاي بالفلورا هاي
ماشي.
سوري يلا خيي هسه هاي بس تكبس عليها تنزل عليها هي كمان هون بالفلورا هيك
مش في هون تبعت
هي ها شايف بالفلورا اطلع وانزل
لا في تبعت المتساقة المكبس هذا
في بس انه على اساس كله يشوف الشاشه ملاني
اه
ما بخليها ملاني فهمت علي كيف؟ هيك منيح هيك؟
ممتاز.
لسه في عندك هون كمان بالفور بس بالعشر اوكي؟
ماشي.
لسه في هون مرات بيكون في عندك ادمنت بدك تفوتهم يا انا بضلني جنبك يا ادمنت اول كمان 5 فاتوا يلا
alright بقدر احط على الاكس
لا مش على الاكس على اللي تحت ماشي.
Okay, I'm supposing that we are riding the bus from Nazareth to Haifa, and that's why I wrote over here table of contents, like any other teacher that teaches his kids. On the way, before we reach Haifa, we are going to see the industrial area. I will talk about them, the oil refinery, crude oil refinery, the products of the gases, the acidic rain, Kishon River. At the entrance of Haifa, we will see the remaining column of King Faisal, the street that was called King Faisal's Road. It's called today the Independence Road. We will see the old train station that was built before the establishment of the State of Israel. And then we go up to Stella Maris. In our way going up, we will see part of the Baha'i Gardens going through the German colony or the Templars neighborhood. And then we will go up to Stella Maris, and that's where we will begin our explanation. But in the way I'm going to talk about these things, of course, we will talk about the Technion and the University of Haifa as part of the city. Okay. Over here, we have 3 photographs of what you all see, the industrial area. As you all know, maybe I will start with the Gulf of Haifa, which is the harbor. It was built once again in the 30s of the 19th century by the order of the Ottomanis and the Germans. It was used afterwards by the British, and then it is used now by the Israelis. It's one of the major harbors in the Middle East. Because of the harbor, a train station was pulled to Haifa, a train station from Deraa all the way over here, and the Iraqi pipeline, we call it the IPC, that was pulled over here about 472 kilometers long, and the Iraqi oil used to be driven all the way to the refinery. Now, of course, during the Israeli state, it was bigger and working a lot faster, but the Iraqi oil was stopped at all in the year 1948 when the Israeli state was established once again. The pipes that used to lead the petroleum from Kirkuk, Mosul, Iraq, all the way to Haifa, used to be driven in pipes. The diameter used to be 30 centimeters up to 20 centimeters. Part of the oil used to go to Lebanon also. In the way, there was a branch that went to Beirut, Lebanon. Now, the crude oil needed to be refined. The refinery separates different kinds of oil, like when we go to the gas station today, we buy for our cars 95 or 98 or octane. We buy kerosene, we buy solar and things like it. All of these are from the crude oil. And in addition to that, there is a lot of gases. You can see the chimneys in your way to Haifa. The chimneys burn most of the gases, so they will not affect people who are living around. But still, there are gases. When it rains, the rain comes down on the ground as acidic rain. Acidic rain does not let plants grow the way they want. That's why a lot of times driving that way, you might see there are different signs that say the agriculture is experimental. It's not planted year by year. They experiment one kind, if it lives in that acidic area or not. Anyway, that's from the gases. Because of the gases, there is one gas that is, I'm not going to talk chemistry anyway, but there is one gas that is hydrogen, another gas that is called nitrogen. They combine it together, they make ammonia, and from ammonia, they make different kinds of fertilizers, nitrate, sulfate, and so on. And they sell it all over the world. Now, what you see on the screen, that is the part of the column that used to carry the statue of King Faisal of Iraq, not of Saudi Arabia. He died in Europe, and they brought his body over here to Haifa in order for it to be transferred to Iraq. That was the year 1933. And there used to be a writing on the column, freedom is taken and not given. The freedom of nation is in the hands of the nations. Maybe he was شو اللي هو؟
لا لا أول شيء ما في.
ما دخلهاش. Okay, we keep on driving, and in our way, we when we turn to go to Mount Carmel, we drive through the German colony. You can see behind these areas on both sides on the street, that is the German colony or the Templars colony. And this is where the people from Germany, they do not have anything to do with the Templars. They just, German workers who came over here, they settled in this part of Haifa. And you can see the lower part of the Baha'i Gardens. You can see the shrine of the Bab also from over here. It's not too close, but we have another close look to it from the top. On the other side, where we have already put a mark, that is the shrine of the Bab. That's where the Bab is buried. Who is the Bab? We'll talk about him afterwards. In the center, we have a house that is not from Haifa, not from our tour, but that is where Baha'u'llah is buried at a place called Bahji at Akka or Acre. I wrote it Akka. Okay, we go up to the top, and this is a panorama over the city of Haifa, the Gulf of Haifa. We can see from here one tall building that is the Rambam Hospital, which is one of the most important hospitals in the north of Israel. And of course, we can see the Gulf of Haifa. We can see the ships in the sea, maybe oil containers and other than that. And to the right-hand side, we can see what we call the Dagon. We will see it in another photo. This is an airplane photo for the area of the Carmel. That is the northern end of Mount Carmel. You can see on the north left side, that is the monastery of the Carmel and the church. We call the church of Saint Elijah, and the monastery of Stella Maris. And this is the Stella Maris lighthouse lies over here. The cable car also, that's a lot of people go there in order to take a look over Haifa. Okay. Okay. Who are the Carmelites? The order of the Brothers of Blessed Virgin Mary of Mount Carmel. In the 12th century, when the Crusaders came to our country, they came in order to take the land from the hands of the Muslims to make it a better place for the Christians. Of course, there are lots of stories about the Crusaders. You all know the city of Acre or Akko, how they turned it into a Crusader city over there. Part of them, of course, before they did become Crusaders, like we know, there were monks who came to the land over here. They asked for a permission to carry weapons. They built castles along the way of the pilgrims in order to protect them and so on. Part of them who have read a lot about Elijah, they came to Mount Carmel, and that's where they looked for caves in order to settle in them. Each cave they settled in, they thought that this is the cave of Elijah. Of course, there were times that they needed to move, or they were driven out. From the 12th century until the 17th century, they were able to build the existing monastery and church. As you can see, the photo down below, that is a sign on the road over here that says Stella Maris, the Church of Stella Maris, and on the other side, the facade of the monastery. Of course, I thought that we are going to enlarge these things for you, but you all know about them. The basic characters that the Carmelites believe in are Elijah, the prophet, Elisha, and most of all, the Virgin Mary, that is Stella Maris. A brief history of the events building the convent. I'm not going to read all of them, but it started 1192 until 1839. That is when the Pope Gregorius XVI gave a rank of the Stella Maris as minor basilica. It was built, and it is a beautiful church. When you take a look from the outside at the church, it looks like a wall of a castle, a fortress, with the small windows, with steel bars and openings that you cannot penetrate. The walls are very thick because they were afraid from the outsiders. The building is 3 stories high, and when you enter the church, you can see that there is a steel door, very heavy. It's very hard to break it, but there is nothing hard in front of the weapon anyways. Before you enter the church, there is a seal. Sorry, that's what we call the coat of arms of the Carmelite on the top of the mountain. It's made out of 5 shapes. Number 1, that is the seal of Mount Carmel. Number 2, that is the motto, the flaming sword of Saint Elijah, that is, the crown of gold, and the hollow of stars. You can see the stars inside and outside. I don't know. At the bottom, you can see one white star, 6 stars. The color is brown. That is Mount Carmel. That is the place where they stay at Mount Carmel. On the top of it, there is a cross. Nearby the cross, there are 2 other stars. Inside them, there are also other stars. And it symbolizes the Carmelites who live on Mount Carmel, and they would take that cross going up to heaven. Okay? The writings that you see, that is in Latin. It is the writings taken from 1 Kings 19:10. It's with zeal have I been jealous for the Lord God of hosts. That is the words of Elijah, with Elijah. Now the golden crown, that is the golden crown of the kingdom of God that goes up with the Virgin Mary. The hand with the sword with the flames, that is the hand of Saint Elijah, who protected God, and he forced God, our God, his God, the true God according to him, by the sword. He killed too many people by the sword. Now, the halo stars, they call them, the halo stars, they represent the Carmelites' Lord, the Blessed Virgin Mary, whom St. John saw in an apocryphal vision as a woman clothed with the sun. On her hand, sorry, a crown of 12 stars. So if you count them, these are 12 stars. They also signify the 12 points of the rule of the Carmelites. I'm not going to go through the rules of the Carmelites, okay? So this is exactly on the top of the entrance of the church of the St. Elijah's church. Now, the Carmelites are not just in Haifa, as you all know. There is the monastery of the Carmelites for men, and there is close by the monastery of the Carmelites for nuns nearby. There is a monastery over here in Nazareth where we are staying. There is another one in Asifia. There is another one in Jerusalem, and there is another one in Bethlehem. That is where Miriam Bawardi, the saint that was counted as a saint not too long ago, that's where her house nowadays. The monastery is called the Monastery of Miriam Bawardi. These are figures of what we are going to see inside the church, except for the pyramidical shape. The pyramidical shape, that is collective tomb, as I've written. As you all know, 1799, Napoleon brought his people to the country, soldiers that is, in order to conquer the country, and he was defeated at Akka, and then he withdrew, leaving a lot of his soldiers sick, and a lot of them died. When he reached that area, the monastery, he left a lot of them there and continued to his country, and they died. Of course, a lot of them were butchered also by the Turks at that period of time. And because of that, when one of the monks came over here, he collected their bones and put them in one tomb with writings and with the cross on the top. This side over here, this is the lighthouse of the Carmelites. maybe I missed something telling you this is the overview of the church and the monastery from the north or from the west, let me say. During the time of Napoleon Bonaparte, he used the monastery as a hospital and a headquarters for his soldiers. Okay? We can see over here the cupola of the church, decorated very beautifully. It is divided into 8 parts. I will talk about it. There is another photo. The nave of the church, that is when we enter, we can see one grotto all the way down, and there is a chapel on the top with the statue of Mary, You can see it also in the upper chapel over here, yes. Okay. اللي بعده. Here we are. Okay, this is another photo of the dome of the church, which looks like the church itself looks like a small cross. We call it a crucifix, with a lot of painting by a monk that was called Fugi. I forgot the name. But I'm not going to look for it now. He made the drawing in the 18th century. And there are very beautiful paintings for Saint Elijah riding his fire chariot going up to heaven, and Elisha looking at him, and Saint Elijah, throw his garment, and Elisha took it in order to be the follower, the successor of Saint Elijah on earth. There is a drawing of King David playing his instrument. Let me شو بسموه harp, his harp. There is the Holy Family. There is other prophets like Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and there are the 4 evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, with their symbols. And the artist is Luigi Poggi, okay? Now, the main altar with the statue of Mary, it was put there when it was built, and there is a writing underneath it from Songs of Solomon 7.5, thine head upon thee is like Carmel, and another writing from Isaiah 35:2, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. This statue was taken down and hidden in one of the houses, Christian house, because they were afraid that people might come and break it. And that was during World War I, 1919, I think. And it was brought back afterwards. And ever since, we do have a procession, a parade, people, Christians, Catholic, and other than that. Second Sunday after Passover, they bring a statue of the Madonna from all the way down from the Church of the Catholics, all the way down, all the way up to Stella Maris, celebrating, singing, and doing a lot of things with maybe also the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and so on. So this is a celebration. They tell us that it might be the second largest celebration or procession in the Holy Land after the Palm Sunday, okay? The Palm Sunday in Jerusalem, and this is in Haifa. Now there are lots of icons and paintings on the sides of the church. This is one of them. This is Saint Joseph holding the son Jesus, and we have 2 figures that are looking at him. That is Saint Teresa and Saint John of the Cross. They are wearing discalced Carmelite habits, and they gaze towards Joseph, who is sitting and holding his son. This is just mute, nothing else. And this is a glass painted window. As you can see, the chariot, fire chariot, Saint Elijah riding it, and he is throwing his garment, and that is Saint Elisha near looking at him, and he is taking it. That is at the Jordan River. That's where he departed to heaven, according to the story. Over here, we see part of the cave. You can see the lights coming out of it, the cave, where the Carmelite monks believe that is the cave of Elijah. Now, others tell us that this cave is the cave of Elisha, because the cave of Elijah all the way down the slope of the Mount Carmel. Maybe some of you have already visited. But according to the Carmelites, this is the cave. When the one of the monks by the name Prosper and two other monks came over here, they made it their place over here. Just 1 minute, please. And there is a writing over there in Latin. Once again, they write in Latin most of the words, but the meaning of that, in this cave stayed occasionally the great leader of father of the prophets, Elijah the Tishbe. Tishbe is country in east West Jordan, that is east of the Jordan River. Okay, the cave is very small. It's 3 by 5 maximum. Okay, inside the cave, we will see once again the statue of Elijah inside, but you can see people going there. They burn candles. The cave is having a lot of black from the fumes of the candles, but each one and his belief. This is Saint Elijah, a bronze statue, small one, is put on like a marble table inside that cave, and this is why the whole monastery is called the Church of Saint Elijah. Okay. On the four corners of the church from the inside, we see 4 sculptures for 4 saints that were chosen. One of them is Miriam Bawardi, the last one, over here to the right, Miriam Bawardi, who was assigned as a saint not too long ago, Saint John of the Cross, and you can take a look at the sculpture. You can see one road in the center and 2 many roads around it. On the top, there is the cross and the bright light coming out of it. And in that line in the center, it says, nada, nada, nada. No matter what road you have taken, the only road to lead you to Jesus or to heaven, that is the central road, the right road. There is one third saint. They made it a saint. That is Saint Edith Stein. Edith Stein was born as a Jew, and she became a Christian, and she believed in the, or she read the book that Saint Teresa of Avila wrote about the interior castle, how to be powerful in front of the world and the anxiety of the world. She wrote it and she became Christian, but she was put in a concentration camp, because she was a Jew, no matter if she had changed her religion. Saint Teresa of Avila also was a Jewish person who became a Christian, and she died on her Christianity. As you take a look on the sculpture, you can see the citadel or the fortress, according to her book, that protected her from the outside world. Okay, going up from Stella Maris, we go up to the panorama of the Baha'is. Normally, we talk about the Baha'is. The Baha'is are the believers of Baha'u'llah. I wrote over here. Symbol of the Baha'i is the nine-pointed star over here. Inside it, Ya Baha'u'llah. It's Ya Baha'u'llah. The Baha'is, they started with one person that is called the Bab. We call him the Bab, and this is the place of his burial, the Golden Shrine. He is buried over here. He put the foundations of the Baha'i faith. The Baha'i faith believes in all the religions, the monotheistic religions only, and they believe also in Buddha, as much as I know. But they are open-minded with all the other faiths, and that's why a lot of people come over here only in order to enjoy the view of these terraces. They have beautiful terraces, symmetrical gardens. When I guide the people, I tell them maybe the flower has the same leaves as the other flower on the other side. So precise. Okay, beneath it, you can see the white building, the white elongated building. This is the Dagon. The Dagon reminds me of the story of Joseph in Egypt, because the Dagon is the storage of the grains. Of course, not in Israel for a long period of time, but they store grains over here. Maybe when you pass by the bus nearby, you can see a lot of birds eating from the remains of these seeds. Okay? Okay, after we are done with the Baha'is, we drive through Haifa all the way to the Muhraka. But in our way, we pass by first the University of Haifa, then maybe it's time for us to talk about education in Israel and universities. In addition to colleges, we talk about the Technion, which is one of the most important. Steve is one of the graduates, long time ago, of course. He forgot everything.
No,
The Technion, and I mentioned Rambam Hospital, which is a medical school for the Technion. That's where medical students learn at the Technion, and they made their stage also. We talk about the University of Haifa and the expansion of it, and then we go through a town that is called Osifia. The city of not a town, it's not a city, not a major city, but it has Arab who are either Christians, Muslims, and some Druses. Maybe they have a house or two also of Jewish people. We are not going to stay at Osifia. We will keep on going to another town called Dalia. And Dalia is a town that is Druze all the way. All the people who live in Dalia are Druzes. And over here, I've written about the Druzes. The Druzes were formed by two people who lived in Egypt. One of them is called Hamza bin Ali al-Zazoni, and the other one is called Muhammad bin Ismail al-Darazi. They negotiated a lot of things, and then they disagreed, and al-Darazi left Egypt and came to Jordan, from Jordan to Lebanon, Syria, Lebanon, and then to Palestine, Israel nowadays. And they started growing, believing in God through the Prophet Shoaib and Prophet Muhammad. And they are the unifiers. They call upon themselves the unifiers because they have a doctrine. They don't have a book like the Quran, like the Muslims, but they have maybe between brackets a secret books for themselves. They have places that we call khilwe, that is a place where they go in order to retreat and pray and write, maybe. Okay? These are the Druzes. They have their own habits. You can differentiate an elderly woman and elderly man. You can exactly say these are Druzes from their outfits. the men also from their mustaches. They don't shave them, and they look like an eagle, right? Okay, we pass through Dahlia and we go through a narrow road, country road, in order to go to Muhraka. And this is the entrance of Muhraka. At the entrance of Muhraka, I wrote over here, the entrance fees are 5 shekels, and the entrance is from 8 to 6, I think. Did not mention that toilets are free over here. When we were at Stella Maris, toilets are not for free. Entrance is for free. They open from 8:30 to 1 and from 3 to 6. Okay. Muhraka, of course, in Arabic, the fireplace. Maybe you remember the story from Kings 1 when the prophet Elijah persuaded King Ahab. King Ahab married Jezebel, the Phoenician, who did not believe in the God that Elijah believes in. She believed in the prophets of the Baal, and Elijah wanted them to believe in his God. And even the name Elijah, Eliyahu, means God is God. Eli means God. Yahweh, once again, God. That means my God is the God. So he persuaded King Ahab, and that's why there was competition between Elijah and the prophets of the Baal. He asked them to make an altar and put on the altar wood, and on the top of the wood a sacrifice, and he will do the same. He will make a trench around that altar, fill it up with water so no fire comes from the outside. And he asked them to start praying for his God. And they started praying, they started shouting, they started tearing their clothes, and nothing happened. And then he told them, I'm going to pray for my God. When he did so, there was a fire coming from the sky, and it lit the wood, and there was a fire. And then that was the time when he started butchering them one after the other until he reached the creek that we call شو اسمه Kishon River. It's not a river, it's a creek, small creek. Okay. Then. Once again, this is the monastery, and the door that you see, that is the door of the church. It's very small church. And in the outside, they have very neat gardens, and one very important statue. That is the statue of Elijah. Just 1 minute. Over here at the bottom, I wrote Elijah, the prophet. In Hebrew, Eliyahu means in Hebrew, Eli, my God, Yahu, the Lord, which means the Lord is my God. And this is what he used to say to the prophets of the Baal. Now, this is writings from the kings about what Eliyahu or Elijah did do with the 450 Baal prophets. They tell us that he finished them all by killing each one of them. This statue that you see over here is the same one that is in the courtyard over there, was made by, I can say, an architect. His name is Najib Nufi from Nazareth. And this is one stone. You can see that he is carrying a sword, and he is stepping on the neck of one of the Baal prophets. Okay, Elijah holding a sword to kill the pagan Baal prophets. Okay. This is a painting showing that Elijah drove them all the way down the cliff of Mount Carmel over there, and by an artist, Gustave Dore, 1832 to 1883. Just a painting. This is the church of Muhraka from the inside. Very simple church, as you can see. There is an altar all the way behind the railing, and the altar is made out of 12 stones. And behind it, there is a wooden cross. On both sides of the walls, you can see writings in Arabic and in Hebrew. There is no English over there so far. And these are from the story of Elijah competition with the prophets of the Baal. 1 King 18, 30 to 31. Okay. On the right side, you can see the Madonna, Mother Mary over here. And the pulpit or the altar that is made out of 12 stones, as the original altar was done by Elijah at that period of time. Of course, maybe 12 to Elijah symbolize the 12 tribes of the Jews. Now, after we finish looking and praying maybe and taking photos, there is a gift shop that we can go through all the way up to the floor, to the top of the floor. There is a beautiful panorama over the all the area. You can see there is a circle in the center, a lot of arrows, and there are writings to indicate the area you are looking at through that arrow. You can see all the way to the north in a clear day the mountain that we call Sulam Sur. That is the mountain that separates Lebanon from Israel nowadays. You can see the Jezreel Valley. You can see the Gulf area. You can see Mount Tabor. You can see the Galilee Mountains. And of course, if you take a look all the way down, you can see the creek that we talked about, the Kishon River. Okay, I think by this, I consumed my mission. I hope that you have enjoyed, and we will see you once again sometimes.
Okay, everybody, you could make unmute, turned on your microphones. Any question? Thank you till now, Abu Marwan. We are waiting for your question. Anybody who would like to ask something, just raise your hand by sign, and I'll give them the permission to ask, please.
I would like to thank Abu Marwan.
أهلا أبو طارق. حبيبي.